Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Views and News and I'm FAISAL REHMAN live from our Islamabad studios. Today's topic, the first story, is about the Karachi operation. Again, the confusion still prevails. Today the session was again adjourned. Today it was called at 10 a.m. in the morning, but the real issue wasn't tabled there, and that was about the extension which was supposed to be given to the Rangers to work and carry out their operation in Karachi in order to make sure that this menace of terrorism is eliminated. But unfortunately, that did not happen. Once again, the opposition members, whether they were from PMLN or from Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf or PMLF, they all walked out. This is going to be our first story. What exactly is happening and now what sort of an option the government of Pakistan, the federal government of Pakistan has. The second topic which we'll be talking about is about the APS Peshawar attack. As we all know that tomorrow is the 16th of December, which is going to be marked and remembered as a Black Day, not because we always used to talk about the fall of Dhaka, but this time also when more than 150 people were massacred in Peshawar APS. We all remember them and we all pray for them. And tomorrow, technically, it is going to be a holiday in most schools, and 2 days holiday in most schools in KPK. And also the Prime Minister has announced that around 130 plus schools will be named after the martyrs of APS. So we'll be talking about that in detail also. We will also be talking to a father of a student who lost his life in that very tragic incident. But talking about the first story, and that is about Karachi operation, let's watch this report.
Opposition members in Sindh Assembly staged walkout after Speaker disallowed tabling of resolution on Rangers issue on Private Members' Day. This move comes after yesterday's session was adjourned amidst sloganeering by opposition lawmakers. The sticking point between the Rangers and the ruling Pakistan People's Party is the arrest of former Petroleum Minister and PPP leader Dr. Asim Hussain over alleged charges of land grabbing, money laundering and financial misappropriation. In a statement, Interior Minister Chaudhry Nisar said Karachi operation started with a consensus of all political parties. Chaudhry Nisar said it is unfortunate that some people are using the name of Sindh province to hide their own shortcomings. Interior Minister further said that enemies of Sindh have occupied land and resources of the province for years. Acknowledging the sacrifice of law enforcement agencies, Chaudhry Nisar said operation is aimed at elimination of terrorism. Talking to reporters, Chief Minister Qayyum Ali Shah assured that there is no tiff with the Rangers and the issue would be resolved soon. In a press conference, Sindh Education Minister Nisar Khoro said his party would resist any attempts at imposition of governor's rule in the province. Karachi operation has significantly reduced violence and any foot dragging might create a security vacuum. MQM, which swept to victory in local government elections in Karachi, has expressed lack of confidence in the manner the Karachi operation is being conducted. Though every effort must be made to ensure fair play, it must be guaranteed that no political cover is allowed to criminal and corrupt elements.
Well, talking about the Karachi operation, now I can actually hear the voice of the report. Please, if you could just switch it off. Yes, Dr. Akib, let's start off from you, sir. Thank you very much, Javed sir, for taking out your time and talking to us. Now, Akib, Karachi operation, whether we admit it or we don't, let's not be political here, but there is an absolute confusion which prevails, sir. There seems to be a tussle going on between the federal government and the provincial government of Sindh. They want that the Rangers should be granted extension there so that they can carry out their operation and day-to-day activities. And good in a way, because if you look at the past couple of months, rather a year, you'll see that the crime rate has significantly gone down by 60 to 70%. People in Karachi are pretty happy and satisfied at the moment. But having said that, there is a lot of reluctancy from Pakistan People's Party's government. They don't want Rangers to remain there and carry out whatever they're doing. And according to Chaudhry Nisar Sahab, it is all about one person. That is Dr. Asim Hussain. Let's start off from there, sir.
Well, I don't find any confusion in this. You say there's a matter of confusion. I think both sides are very adamant about what they want. But we've got to look deeper into why. You say it's about the doctor. I think it's more important to understand that there are other issues at play here. Let's look back about 20 years in the 1990s when Nasir al-Babar, retired Major General, was in charge as Interior Minister, and he sent in the Rangers, for example, and cleared Karachi up. And this is a similar operation if you think about it. And everybody was very happy about that. And that was a PPP government at that time.
Yes.
Because there was a lot of turmoil, and Pakistan's name is being hit left, right, and centre, and Karachi is a hub of trading for Pakistan. Without it, we suffer. And we need peace. We need foreign direct investment in this country. It comes via Karachi in that respect, and that provides the basis for our stability to that extent. Now we've got to look at the vested interests here. The rest of the country, people in Sindh, people in Karachi want the continuation of the Rangers, who have had a very successful operation so far. Reduced crime rates, terrorism significantly,
Correct.
Extortion, kidnapping for ransom significantly, killings by assassination significantly. And when we look at that, to my mind, we've had a very successful operation, and it does need to go to a conclusion. But what is a conclusion?
Now, what's the logical end?
What is the logical end? Let's go back 20 years again. As soon they were concluded, within a few years we had disruption and return to problems within about 4 or 5 years, and then there was an issue again. What does that tell you about the capacity of those people on the ground when the Rangers leave? What they can do?
Look at what MQM did to those police officers and all those involved in that operation. They were all eliminated one by one.
What do? You see, the thing with the Rangers is they don't live on the ground there. They can disband and go back to the barracks. But the police have to live there. And they need to be empowered. They need to be empowered with training and capacity and understanding of forensics.
So who's going to do that?
This is the
No
problem
matter
here.
how much training you give to them, no matter how much empowerment. Recently there was this news, Javed Sahab, you'll also second me, that the IG Sindh has asked for new weapons worth around 7 billion rupees. And most probably, even if they give that grant and they end up having that kind of a weapon, but at the end of the day, since the political influence is so much over these officers and Jawans and even the SHOs, that there is the problem. And the problem is that once these people are politicized, they won't do anything. Look at what this guy, what's his name, DSP Altaf Hussain has done. He was made in charge of this investigation of Dr. Asim Sen. He diluted the case to an extent that, he can just go away anywhere. This is what is happening. This is the way it is. This is how it functions, Javed Sahab.
I think the Rangers were sent for an operation in Karachi under the decision of an all-party conference.
Correct, sir.
All the political parties were on board. They granted a mandate to the Rangers that they should go and clean Karachi of criminals, extortionists, target killers,
All these
and other
mafias,
criminals. Yes, and they have launched this operation very successfully. They have been able to achieve the objectives for which this operation was launched. Unfortunately, when the time has come to extend their mandate for another 3 months, the PPP is not willing to do that. PPP is in the government. Initially, there was a reaction from MQM. The MQM was protesting, well, our people are being picked up by Rangers.
Yes.
They are being tortured and political
They were raising
victimization.
the issue of extrajudicial killing.
Exactly, extrajudicial killing, etc. But PPP kept quiet at that time. They thought that this operation is targeted and is directed against MQM. But now a full turn has been taken.
Yes.
And when Dr. Asim was arrested by Rangers for his connection with terrorists, for actually getting involved in activities which were totally unlawful, he actually sold the government lands worth billions of rupees to his cronies. And therefore, these kind of cases, they were looked into, they were investigated by the Rangers, and they concluded that this man is involved in corruption up to his neck. And he was found that he was a front man of Mr. Zardari, the chief of the PPP.
A person who is practically a doctor who happens to be a very close
Running
friend
a
of the
hospital.
former president, who was running a hospital, was made the Minister for Petroleum.
Exactly.
What for, sir?
You know, these cases...
That is where the money is.
Yeah,
That is where the...
but this is being investigated because I think he has granted hundreds of thousands of CNG stations again to criminal people, and he took a lot of money. All this is being investigated. And now Mr. Zardari is pretty upset. And since the arrest of Dr. Asim, you know, Mr. Zardari has left this country and is living in Dubai. He is not returning to Pakistan.
So practically he is in self-exile.
Exactly. He has been the president of Pakistan.
So the case of the Shahil Memon, another close
other people
ally
are
of the
also being
former president.
investigated. So Mr. Zardari, the ex-president of Pakistan, the chief of Pakistan People's Party, the chairperson, co-chairperson of PPP, is not returning to Pakistan. It is strange. And he fears and apprehends that Mr. Asim, Dr. Asim, if he speaks out and tells the whole story as to who is involved and at whose behest.
Sir, he has hinted towards him that the high-ups of People's Party, I mean, who would be higher than...
I think Zardari, nobody else but
Simple
Mr.
as that,
Zardari.
yes.
And since he has started divulging the information that the Rangers and other law enforcement agencies wanted, I think Mr. Zardari has become pretty upset, and he has asked the Chief Minister not to grant the permission to Rangers to continue this operation for another 3 months. So here is, the situation is stuck up here. So I think...
But technically speaking, sir, as we speak, the Rangers do not have the official authority.
Although
still
they're
conducting the
although they're
operations.
operating. That's why the Interior Minister has come out with this harsh statement that if the Rangers are not given this
And
mandate...
Javed sir, what sort of video was the Interior Minister was talking about?
I think
sir?
he was spilling the beans, and he was giving information about Mr. Zardari's involvement in massive corruption in Sindh province. Plus, I think he was in tears and begging probably the investigators that they let him go and things like that. But I think that's the only reason why the Sindh government is not extending the mandate to these Rangers to carry out this operation, which is so effective, which has been able to bring normalcy to the city of Karachi, the mega city, the hub of the commercial and economic activity. What's wrong with that? The traders, the common citizens of Pakistan, they feel
For the
very
first time they're
relieved,
feeling safe,
very
yes.
relieved.
Yeah.
And even the international community is acknowledging the fact that the Karachi is very normal, Karachi is peaceful. So what is the harm in extending this mandate to Rangers?
Having said that, Aqib Sab, Karachi is the hub of economic activities. Uqab. Sorry. Now, and you can't afford Karachi to be in a mess again. That is for sure. Now, having said that, obviously Sindh government is in power, and now after the local body elections, because the problem is not in Sindh, the problem is particularly in Karachi, and obviously Karachi is a part of Sindh, southern Sindh, let's put it this way. And that is going to be governed practically by MQM. And I had a word with a lot of MQM people, they all said, well, the operation should go on, and we support the federal government on this. Now, what is that supposed to mean? They are okay with it, though they do have issues, they do have complaints, which were addressed and which will be addressed, I mean, if they have genuine grievances or legitimate concerns, for instance. But sir, having said that, once again, Karachi in the hands of MQM, which supports the operation, whereas the government of Sindh in totality, which doesn't have much control over Karachi as such, is not willing to authorize Rangers to operate. Now, there's going to be another problem, like MQM versus Pakistan People's Party versus PMLN, and that is where the problem is.
Yeah, there's a lot of inter-party politics going on.
Yes.
Here. It's funny when you mention MQM, because they've got a lot of problems with the operation, there's no doubt about that. Sometimes when somebody's got a problem with the operation, they don't want to highlight their concerns because of intrinsic issues that they're going to face, because they come to the surface. People investigate that, remember that. When something happens, there'll be more attention on them. More attention from the media, more attention from the government, more attention from the police and the Rangers.
And they'll be in the limelight,
So
the way they were
be
initially.
in the limelight more so they'll be investigated more. So let's just hide away a little, we'll support it and let it ride over. MQM, I think, hasn't learned their lesson. So whose vested interests are they? You talk about Dr. Asim. I think, can they hold the whole province and the whole city of Karachi hostage to violence because one person? I don't think that's the case. I think there's something bigger, a bigger concern here. and something more hidden maybe that may be found out.
And that could
I
be
mean, one person is just
something
not enough
which can
for the lives of millions
lead towards Zardari Sahib.
or many others. I mean, these are powerful people.
No, Shajil Rehman is not coming back to Pakistan. I mean, he was talking to Wasim Badawi the other day on the telephone.
But it's
Interestingly,
not-
he says that, he went through an operation and he was, I mean, if he has, for whatever operation, even the bypass
It's not the end of the story
rather
here.
2 months.
It's not the end of the story here. The Rangers have evidence, piles of evidence against other people who have been in the government, in the provincial PPP government. So they are investigating these cases one by one, and probably all of them are apprehensive that Rangers will come heavy on them. Well, they will be apprehended, and probably there will be cases will be registered against them, and they will be in trouble. That's why one after the other, they are leaving the country. They are, silently just leaving the country and going to Dubai and elsewhere. Some of the MQM leaders have also fled the country.
Babar Ghori isn't here, sir.
Ghori is not here.
So
They've got
many
things
others,
to hide.
many others. So that's the reason. So they are fearing that the Rangers who are conducting a very indiscriminate operation, and they are picking up people from this party and that party. Whosoever is responsible, whosoever is the lawbreaker, is being apprehended by them. So both parties from time to time, they raise hue and cry against this operation. But for the time being, it is the People's Party, and it is the responsibility of the provincial government to grant the mandate, another mandate for 3 months to continue this operation. And the entire people of Sindh, urban and rural, the entire population is at the back of the Rangers, and they want this operation to be continued so that they are able to live a peaceful life. And normalcy returns to Karachi, the mega city, the industrial city of Pakistan. So therefore, I think the provincial government is under a lot of pressure, under tremendous pressure to grant this mandate to the Rangers. But Mr. Zardari and some of his cohorts who are apprehensive of the fact they could be jailed, they could be nabbed, they could be brought before a court of law, they are
At the end of the day,
obstructing
they
it.
feel proud to be in jail, that, that's an honor.
No,
Because we were corrupt, we did
Yeah.
corruption, we looted billions of dollars, and because we were sent in for a few months, but now we came out clean because this is our government again.
But Faisal, they are exposed now. The entire nation knows.
So every time they were
Yeah,
exposed.
no, but this time
Every
around,
time, sir.
because on the issue of Rangers giving them more time and more mandate to continue this operation, I think the entire nation knows now what are the problems, what are the obstructions, what are the impediments on the way to give more.
Absolutely.
So they stand exposed now.
Now, 2 more points, sir. A, there was this debate on one of the television channels, and they raised a couple of very important points. A, the authority of Rangers, what can they do and what they are not supposed to do.
Special powers.
Absolutely. Special powers is a different, I mean, you can pick up people, you can retain them, you can have remand, and you can...
90 days.
I mean, but having said that, their primary job is to restore law and order and to pick up all the miscreants and the criminals and the terrorists, so-called the black terrorists. This is what their job is. But when it comes to corruption, it should be with NAB, But when they say that the Rangers, they raided a police station, because there were corrupt elements there, they did the right thing, but this is not what they were supposed to do. A, technically speaking. B, raiding the building authorities, for instance, and picking up all the material because there was a lot of mega corruption scandals there. They did it, they had it. And then, going after, for example, initially there was this case, I mean, it is still there, that Dr. Asim was involved in terror financing, or he had treated, or in his hospital, certain people from MQM, or for instance from Leari gang, which is People's Party, they were all treated. Yes, sir, and money wasn't charged or anything, but they did not report it to the police. Right, sir? Okay, fine. Now that is one case. But when it comes to corruption, they said, well, this is not their domain. This is where the problem is. So,
What's the point? Nobody is above the law. The end. That's what we've got to recognize in this country. Whether you're a president, a prime minister, a governor, a chief minister, or local political party officer, or a policeman, nobody is above the law. And that's what the problem lies. When you become a police officer, you think you can do what you like. You cannot. You must abide by the law. The law prescribes rules for you to be regulated amongst, not just the civilians, not just the military. This is what we've lost sight of, I think, in this country. Everybody is subdued by the law, but it's not, because everybody's perception is because this is still a feudal country. We forget that. There's no real democracy. This is an oligarchy. And as a result, the mindset of the people hasn't moved on from 400 years ago, when the real monarchy was here. The mindset is still there. Democracy has been hijacked by the oligarchs. And as a result, they still think they can play their own game. There's a challenge here now. The challenge is by the Rangers. What they represent, a certain amount of equality for the people, who are disguised in a way, who are unknown to everybody. You can't attack them. And this is where the challenge comes. We know you can't target them as the same way you could target police officers who are stationed in particular thana or something. Yeah? And as a result, you can't bribe them. You can't subdue them. You can't make them afraid. And this is where the problem lies. We talk about logical conclusion. Where is the logical conclusion?
And what is the logical conclusion?
What is it? When 20 years ago it happened and we thought it was the end, and now it's happening again, now we think it's going to be the end. Is it really? You have to look deeply into the social fabric of the people who live there and around the whole society. You have to blame yourselves for enforcing the law. Everybody has a responsibility to enforce a law. We talk about us being Muslims. What are the first few verses? Surat al-Masakin. Now, does anybody follow that here? This is where you have lost touch with everything. Society must take responsibility for its own actions.
Now, this is where the leadership comes in, sir. The leadership
this is where the problem of the leadership is.
Yeah. So if you allow me, sir, we've been joined by Senator TAHIR from MQM. Assalamu alaikum, Senator Saab.
Wa alaikum salam.
Senator Saab, talking about the Karachi operation now, again, the issue wasn't tabled in the Assembly. This has been going on for the last couple of days, and Pakistan People's Party, for some damn reason, is just finding excuses not to, get into this, because the moment they'll grant permission to Rangers, things will be pretty much against them. Now, initially, when this operation started, they were pretty happy because it was primarily, according to them, it was against you, and so-called the captain of the ship was the Chief Minister of Sindh. But now the moment they realize that, well, there are a lot of corrupt elements within the ranks of Pakistan People's Party, you exactly know what is happening. Your take, MASHHADI Saab, on this?
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. The situation is very, very simple and very clear.
Sir.
Now, there is a constitutional provision, Article 147.
Correct.
Now, 147 has given something in the hands of the provincial government. There's no doubt about that. Legal, they have something. Because in it is written that they can hand over the executive powers, that is the police powers, which the Rangers want, the power to search, the power to arrest, the power to interrogate, which they don't have. And they can give it conditionally or unconditionally. Now, Pakistan People's Party has had it their own way for a long time. They have been protected. They had their government in power. They've got their own politicized police in the province, and they have the Rangers under their thumb. Now, once this case started about with the Dr. Saab, and he came out with a lot of startling revelations, and what it was known to the people of Pakistan anyway, there is no doubt people have got 300 acres unlawful possession of government land. There's all sorts of mega corruption scandals going all around. And now their ministers are involved, their higher hierarchy is involved, and they want a way out. And the way out they're looking for is under Article 147, take conditionally. So basically, if you want to understand it very simply, they are willing to give the powers to the Rangers if they operate only against MPN, and they do not touch anybody from Pakistan People's Party.
Absolutely spot on.
And Pakistan People's Party can do their whatever corruption, whatever terrorism, whatever funding of terrorism, whatever they feel like doing, they can do, but right under the nose of the Rangers, but the others can't. Now, this is basically what they want. They want to impose conditionality. Now, this is very dangerous. Number one, they are putting the Rangers in a very, very tight spot. The honor, dignity, prestige, the credibility and the moral authority of the Rangers, if they have to work under condition, will be affected. They are putting they are making themselves, exposing themselves to a very, very bad culture that we can do anything we like and the others. So that is converting the population of Sindh into first-class citizens and second-class citizens. The first-class citizens belonging to PPP, having all rights and all protection. The second class, the rest of the people, the settlers, who have no power, no legal authority, no human rights, nothing. Now, MQM is very clear. We want the Rangers. We asked for the Rangers. It was MQM which asked for the operation.
Correct.
We have our reservations. We want the Rangers to function in accordance with the law. We want them to function with due process of the law. We want them to function bearing in mind all human rights. But we want them there. There's never been any doubt on that. We have never asked for the removal of Rangers because we believe and we represent the people. 85% of Karachi votes for us. We want the Karachi to be cleaned up from all the antisocial elements. Now, but they should be posted in the whole of Sindh. We can't convert a province into class 1 and class 2 province. The people of Karachi, they're not under some sort of punishment that they should be the only ones subjected to laws. Because the Rangers are there under the Pakistan PPA, the Protection of Pakistan Act, and the ATCA, the Anti-Terrorism Act. Under the
Now, Mashhadi Sahib, if I may intervene, I've got a few more questions for you, sir. For example, I mean, there are two scenarios. For example, I was having a word with a couple of analysts last night, and they believe that, most probably they're just delaying it. This is a delaying tactic, and most probably they will eventually sign it. But let's suppose if they do not, if they keep on delaying this and there are issues, and Chaudhry Nisar Sahib is a very straightforward man. He's the Interior Minister and he means business this time, sir. And he doesn't take dictation from anybody, even from the Prime Minister, to be very honest. He's that kind of a gentleman. Now, having said that, sir, let's suppose if this debate goes into the National Assembly of Pakistan, sir, will you stand with the PMLN, or in case if there is a debate in, let's suppose this issue is tabled in the Sindh Assembly, will you support Pakistan People's Party for not opting for the presence of Rangers, or will you support against that, sir?
Absolutely vote against that resolution. We want the Rangers there. The Rangers to be there. The law and order demands that Rangers be there. The people want the people to be there.
All right. Now the second point. Mashhadi Saab, is that because since you are a senator, you represent the upper house, you're from MQM, everybody thought that, I think there was some technical flaw anyway, but so let me put this question to you. Options for the government. Let's suppose Zardari Saab knows, because if you remember, when these military courts were established and this new law was passed, Zardari Saab gave a statement at that time. He was after the generals. Okay, fine. That's his personal statement, nobody can comment on that. But what I'm saying is that he said, well, I still remember in Urdu, Miya Saab, ye talwar aapke gale pe bhi latak sakti, something like that. That, because, then you won't be able to save me.
You're also
if I'm in power, I won't be able to save anybody else, because once military takes charge. Half-hearted operation, it's better not to even conduct it. It's better to have no operation rather than a half-hearted operation.
See, the Rangers in Karachi have the legal and the moral authority to continue with this operation.
Sir, they have the moral authority at the moment, not the legal authority. That is what the problem is.
But how long can you delay giving this extension to Rangers, the authority to Rangers
This is the kuna of, you need to go through the parliament.
Yeah, but the PPP leadership, it has been clearly stating in so many words that yes, we want this operation.
So Chandiyo Saab comes on TV, says something else. Kuna Saab comes in, he gives a totally
majority of them are saying that we will grant this. What do they want? They want some concessions. They want to extract some concessions.
Okay, leave Dr. Asim. withdraw the
leave
cases from
Wasim,
himself.
or
Why,
at
sir?
least do not go into the areas of corruption. Do not investigate.
Okay, let them
people.
do the corruption.
Yeah, yeah.
At the same time, handle the
This is what they
problem.
want. This is what
You
they
have to
want.
go after the root cause, sir.
They want a quid pro quo. You know, a quid pro quo.
So this is like
That-
you want to treat
Right,
my
but-
brain
but-
tumor,
but
the
see-
tumor which is in my
Yeah, yeah,
kidney
but-
that should remain there.
But this goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Corruption, terrorism,
I and you.
criminal
It's
activity.
linked. It's interlinked.
All interlinked.
Absolutely.
All interwoven.
No. But I and you cannot do anything about it. The parties concerned, the PPP.
Sir, I'm a
the-
Pakistani.
Of
I'm concerned, sir, because
of
I pay
course.
taxes.
I also, as a
I pay-
Pakistani, I'm concerned.
And I don't want
but,
that
but the matter
money
is,
which I pay
the matter is,
for certain services
Right.
which are unfortunately not available to me, but
you
shouldn't
know-
even go in the
No,
pockets
no,
of these
but-
corrupt people.
but-
Why,
but
sir?
Ultimately, the mandate has to be given by the Sindh Assembly, okay? And the parties concerned are PPP, MQM, other political parties represented in the Provincial Assembly and the federal government. I think the Prime Minister has invited, through a telephonic conversation, the Chief Minister of Sindh to come to Islamabad, maybe
To come to Pakistan.
to come to Islamabad.
This is not Pakistan.
To come to Islamabad and discuss these things. So I think maybe a solution is found there in the meeting of the Chief Minister and the Prime Minister, and probably he will grant this.
And what about the
extension.
Rangers, sir?
The Rangers will remain there. They will
Remain
Rangers-
there and then they will take dictation from the federal government. Well, you can go this far, but you can't go that far.
but there are other
because I can pick up
See,
6
there are other
criminals, but 2 who are
options.
hiding
No.
there.
I think we are
they're untouchables.
We are taking this discussion in a different direction. We should remain within the.
But sir, why concessions? If somebody is corrupt, should be taken to task.
The problem is that we have to do everything within the precincts of law, within the parameters of law. If I and
Sir, these
I wish something else.
lawmakers or these gentlemen,
my wish and
they
your
make
wish-
laws to save their own.
My wish and your wish
Will
are
remain
there,
a wish.
are there. But the parties concerned, we have to analyze as to what is their position.
Well, sir, then God bless Pakistan,
The
honestly.
federal government has said that the Rangers, the Interior Minister has very clearly stated, unambiguously has said that Rangers need to be given powers. And that's why he picked up a phone and called the Chief Minister of Sindh to grant this permission to Rangers so that they could continue this operation. The Chief Minister said, well, I'm going to take it to the Assembly. But unfortunately, on Monday...
And I'll make sure that, this entire issue is delayed to an extent that till we get some sort of a green
Okay.
signal from the
On Monday it was to appear...
Jai sir, if you allow me, sir, I'm sorry to cut you off. We've been joined by the former Governor, Sindh, Lieutenant General MOINUDDIN. HAIDER sir, assalamu alaikum, sir.
Ji, walaikum salam.
Jai sir, thank you very much for taking out your time and talking to us. Sir, since we were talking about the Karachi operation, the issue which the Rangers is facing at the moment, and you exactly know what is happening in the Assembly. They're not tabling the issue so that it can be passed or it can be rejected, whatever. Zardari Saab is in Dubai calling all these shots. Earlier we used to blame Iltaf Hussain Saab because he was in London. There is a similar situation now going on in Karachi. You know the level of corruption that has been indicated. I mean, $250 billion a year, sir. 230 billion rupees a day, a year. I mean, there's a lot of money. But at the same time, sir, having said that, now since you're a Karachiite, you live there, sir, your family lives there, things were getting back to normal. And suddenly, because the Rangers went after certain characters who were absolutely corrupt to the optimum level, there is a problem because they were from Pakistan People's Party. Let's start off from there, sir, your take.
Yes, this is most unfortunate that the Rangers are not being allowed to do their duty, and the Rangers special powers of policing were given to them to bring peace to Karachi, which I think a job which was very well done by them along with the police, in coordination with the police. And the Karachi public and traders and businessmen and everybody had a sigh of relief that thank God after years of turmoil and restlessness in Karachi, there is improvement in law and order. Target killings came down, abductions for ransom came down,
Correct.
and Bhatta came down, so everybody was happy. And now, because Sindh government is not happy, the Sindh government says that Rangers are transgressing their powers which were given to them by the Sindh government, and that they should not be crossing their limits by, going to KDA or to Sindh Building Control Authority or to fisheries or to anybody else for corruption. They say they should leave this job and only concentrate on eliminating the terrorists. Well, they were the problem is, but the DJ Rangers, he came, I was listening to one of his interviews, he was saying, these powers are given to us by Sindh government, and if they don't want us to go for people who indulge in corruption in a massive way, well, if this is the mandate given to us, we will work within that mandate. But, the momentum of the operation has been broken.
Yes,
and
that is
ever
what the
since
point
5th
is, sir.
December, today is 15th, for 10 days, there is not much activity. This is just strengthening the terrorists. So I think, I hope good sense prevails, both on Sindh government and Federation, to resolve this issue. As they say, that democracy resolves all complex issues in a very amicable manner, and we are waiting to see that to happen.
Now,
And, somebody has to also take care of corruption, and for that we have NAB and FIA. But Sindh government says that even they should not be attacking Sindh. And they say we have our own anti-corruption department of Sindh, and I don't think in 50, 60, 70 years they have got hold of any corrupt person, at least.
Now,
not to my knowledge.
Jalal Sahab, I've got a couple of more questions for you. Jalal Sahab, you have served as a very senior official, as a governor also in Karachi. You exactly know the nitty-gritties and the basic problems of Karachi. Now, we always talk about the operation which was conducted in 89-90 when Nasirullah Babar Sahab was the interior minister. Interestingly,
92.
sir,
93-4.
93-4, sorry. But it started early, but that was the prime
That's when he
time.
was in.
That was the prime time. But unfortunately, sir, it was left in between. And you exactly know what happened after that. So many police officers, jawans, inspectors, they were brutally murdered there, sir. Just to set an example that next time if you'll come after us, this is what will happen to you. Now, sir, let's suppose if we do the same, this is what it seems like that, you can pick up some people from MQM, but since I'm the Chief Minister of Sindh, I will not let you touch me and my people. Or Mr. Zardari will not let you go after Asim Saab or anybody else. Now, that is where the problem is, sir. You're a taxpayer, I'm a taxpayer. Why should we let them loot our country, sir, and sit abroad and chill out there, sir?
I think the difference is that two operations which were carried out in Karachi. One was by General Nasir Ahmed, who was the commander of the corps here, and that was against MQM. And in that, they had, sort of.
Jalsa, hello? I think there's some...
Technical.
No, it's not the technical side. I think we just lost the signals. Maybe he was in the car or something. Anyway, Aqib Saab, let's start it from there. I get emotional because I love my country. Now, that is what my point is.
Yeah. I agree.
I mean, the point is, sir, that, ever since Pakistan came into being, sir, we've been hearing this. We talk about, why we could not progress because there were 4 martial laws. Yes, sir. My father was a clean man, though he was in forces. My father-in-law happened to be a general in army, was a very clean man, and still a clean man. The point is, sir, that there are good people also. Every general is not corrupt. Like every politician is not corrupt. But if there is a general who is corrupt, hang him right in front of the parliament. But if there is a politician, set an example too.
I don't think we want to hang people in front of the parliament.
No, what I'm saying is that,
Wrong
set an
impression.
example.
But I understand what you're saying. My father-in-law, wonderful person, he was a retired army officer, died last year. Very straightforward man. My family, my grandfather, army. Naturally, I ebb towards the army. But because I can exist better in the army in an environment of rules. But in Karachi, there was an environment of chaos. And people took advantage of that. Unfortunate thing about politicians is they take advantage of chaos because that's what they exist in. The political theatre, it's a farce, really, as far as I can see it. You look at the Houses of Parliament in England, it's called a bit of a joke when they start laughing, but they actually get things done. And when they consolidate an opinion, they work together to fulfill it. And that's the problem here. When a decision is made, you have to work together for the benefit of the country and the citizens of the country who you
And they
are
held an
responsible.
APC, interestingly.
responsible
Everybody
for.
was supposed to be on the same page, but
But they're not. You see, so whose interests are being threatened here? This is what we're all going against. I think these interests need to be highlighted even more. And these people who are in power and their interests
should be
that are threatened,
exposed.
And corruption is one part of the inadequacy of this country as far as dealing with terrorism, because it deals with allowing loopholes which the terrorists and the criminals and miscreants take advantage of. Because you've got corruption there, you can bribe people, you can get away with things, and there's no equality there. Out of 66 people before July this year that were put through the courts, only 30 were convicted. 36 were let go. I mean, from the statistics I heard.
And before the military courts were established, not even a single person was convicted,
so
unfortunately.
At least we've got something, but the fact of the matter is, the law enforcement is one aspect of it. The courts must do due diligence as far as they're concerned, and not be corrupted either.
But anyway, sir, a lot of IRs will get away with it. This is
Yeah.
what the future
It's
seems to be like.
unfortunate.
But
Isn't
this is
this
very
disheartening?
unfortunate. But
This is very disheartening.
then somebody has said, then you know what? I mean, it's now or never.
Yep.
You know, then I would also prefer to have a Canadian passport and take my kids out of Pakistan instead of living here and fighting for the cause. Honestly speaking, because then you get disheartened. Anyway, time to move on to our next topic, and that is about a very tragic story, and that is about APS. Exactly 364 days ago, on the 16th of December, what we went through is something I just can't even explain. We have prepared a package. Let's watch it, and we'll continue our discussion after that.
It was Tuesday morning and students were looking forward to their Christmas break. On a typical winter day, pupils got busy in the lessons before recess. Then at 10:25 a.m., it all changed. It was the beginning of the worst terror attack in Pakistan's history, the aftershocks of which will be felt across the country for all times to come. In the horrifying tragedy, 144 students and teachers were martyred amidst a chaotic hail of gunfire, grenades, and attackers detonating their suicide vests. During last 12 months, Pakistan's civil military stakeholders ironed out differences to formulate a national action plan against terrorism. Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif pledged to avenge the national tragedy unleashed by the savages. This prompted a host of legislative measures to tackle the menace of terrorism. Moratorium over executions was lifted and military courts established. After trial by a military court, 4 militants involved in the gruesome attack have been hanged. As a country, we have learned lessons from this tragedy. Following sustained ground and air offensives, the Pakistan military has wiped out the presence of Tehreek-e-Taliban Pakistan and its affiliates from federally administered tribal areas. To honor the memory of our martyrs, we must pledge to rid our country from the scourge of terrorism. Entire nation salutes its young heroes for their remarkable strength and resilience.
Yesterday.
Well, Javed sir, 16th December.
Very
We are
sad.
not talking about the fall of Dhaka. We've forgotten about that.
Because it has overshadowed that tragedy, which happened in 1971, decades back. And this incident was so,
shaken the entire country, sir.
horrifying, so terrible, and so shaking that the entire nation is still under the shadow of that incident, dark shadow of that incident. And the nation has transformed, however, after this, in the sense that this tragic incident which took place, the barbarians who attacked these school children and killed almost 150 of them, it shook the entire world. And you and I remember how the world reacted to it. And a few days later, the entire nation woke up to a new reality, and they got together, the political parties, they joined hands, a meeting was conducted, and it was decided that the nation should take these barbarians, these people, these brutal people to task. And then this Operation Zarb-e-Azb it started, and it has been able to eliminate to a large degree the hideouts of these terrorists and militants in North Waziristan. Also, I think since then, a lot more has happened. The nation feels that, whatever divergence of opinion was there against the terrorists and militants, I think that divergence has gone. The entire nation is on the same page, military, civil leadership. The people at large in Pakistan, they all want this scourge of terrorism to be eliminated from Pakistan. That's one good thing which has emerged from this very, very tragic incident. So 1 year later, we remember those children, the beautiful faces who were destroyed, who were killed, who have perished, and they have left a big scar, a very deep scar on the minds and the souls of the people, not only of their parents but the entire nation. And we still feel the pain and the anguish of that incident. But as I've said, that we stand united as a nation against terrorists, against militants, against those people who have been perpetrating this horrible crime on this nation. Almost 100,000 people in Pakistan have been killed in various incidents of terrorism and bomb explosions, innocent people. Now the nation, I think, is united and is facing this scourge of terrorism with a resolve that we want to eliminate them. We want this country to come back to normal life as it used to be. So that's the lesson.
But still, there's a long way to go, Javed Sahab. Dr. Kavi, I was in Peshawar a few days ago. I was doing a program which is going to be aired tomorrow at 5. And honestly speaking, it's been 14, 15 years for me in media, and I've done so many shows on so many boring subjects at time also. But that was the most difficult program of my life. I couldn't talk. I was speechless. I was just trying to hold, I just couldn't, And I met those staff members, those parents, they lost their children. I met those kids, they lost their friends, their brothers, their sisters. And you know what? I mean, it totally transformed me into somebody, I just can't even explain. You're a father yourself, you exactly know what I'm talking about. Don't you think this is high time to be united rather than being Sindhi and Balochi and Pashtun and Punjabi and having issues on stupid matters, rather than being together and fight this war collectively, sir?
Last year, 16, this is more personal to me. We lost 2 members in our family on that day. The principal was a distant relative, but a very good friend of my mother-in-law.
What a brave lady.
And the first teacher, I think, one of the first people that was shot was Shanaz Naeem, whose husband was a surgeon in Mary Redding, and treating those children and people being brought in, and didn't know that his wife was dead at that time, and they were looking for her till the evening. Imagine that. And their son, who was hiding, luckily hiding away, was able to be hidden in such an extent. All his class fellows were killed. One was shot in the leg. That was the only one, the other one that survived. And he was able to get away. But he was traumatized. And these stories come very much to home when they're your own family.
Every house has a story.
And that came home to me. I'm being a father. I worry. I worry so much about my children. What will happen? Because your lives are theirs now. Once you become a father, your lives are theirs. You don't think about yourself in the same way. You sacrifice everything for them so they can have a future. And they attacked our future.
That's a very important point.
But
raised.
let me
Dr.
go on to
Kamal, we'll be continuing our program after the news break also. And I'll definitely take that point forward now. Time for a news break. Please watch the news and then we'll return and we'll continue our discussion.